Indigo's Facebook page, Facebook group, and to Twitter and everybody. This is Nate Manahan, and music is a little bit loud, live from Indianapolis, Indiana. This is the High Five, and I have got many special guests with us this morning, and I'm going to start by bringing all three of them up at once. Here they are. In the upper left-hand corner, you see Mr. Brian Linky from Warsaw, Indiana, the orthopedic capital of the world. In the right-hand corner from Glenwood Springs, maybe you took a hot dip in the wonderful hot springs there in Glenwood Springs, Mr. Danny Schard. And
good morning, everybody.
Good morning. And in the lower corner is Mr. Marc Beauchamp. How are you, Mr. Marc, joining us as a special guest? All right, we're going to bring the music down, stop the music, and we are live working on all of our places here on Facebook, on YouTube, on Periscope this morning. I threw it over on Periscope. I don't know if anybody's watching, but if you're watching on Periscope, you are our first ever watch and follow over at Periscope. Thank you so much for joining us. You can jump into the comment section. We're going to be trying to watch it. We're still working on learning how to do all the comment sections. We're going to cover 5 different subjects, from entertainment to sports to, at the end, things that are important to business sales leaders. And we're excited to be able to talk and discuss and have a little bit of fun as we quarantine ourselves. Danny's in his office by himself, and the only person I think in Colorado in his office, so he's safe there, and the rest of us are all from home. So let's talk.
Let me in the office.
That's it. All right, so Mr. Brian Linky, can you tell me what you have heard about the Tiger King?
Well, it's not what I've heard. I actually read a couple of posts on Facebook yesterday, so I'm like, okay. Well, the first thing I did was I looked to see how many episodes it was, because if it was more than what it was, which is 7, I definitely would have not watched it. So I watched the first 5, and I don't really have a comment, because I mean, I lost 5 hours of my life is what's actually happening. I'm not really sure what I was watching or what I did watch. I know that tonight I'll probably watch the final 2 episodes, just because my retain of personality, and I have to do it. But it just goes to show that, you know what, you can make a living doing just about anything, honestly.
That is true. And I forgot, I had a new sound effect, and this is what happens when you're forgetting to produce. This is our new number 1. When we go to number 1, here it is.
1.
Number 1. Numero uno. All right, well, I just thought you guys should see that. All right, so Danny, you said you didn't even jump in and see this at all. Can you tell me a little bit about what you saw on the internet and what your feel is for the Tiger King. Because Marc mentioned he hadn't even seen anything about it. He did a great job staying off social media. To the best of our knowledge, somewhere around 350 million people worldwide have watched all 7 episodes of this new documentary on Netflix, The Tiger King. It had over 2 billion mentions on Twitter between Thursday and Saturday night. And what did you see, Mr. Danny Schard? Oh, did I lose you, Danny?
We're struggling this morning, everybody but me.
I know. Danny, are you muted? All right. So this is technology at its best. All right, Brian, did you tell me about the mullet known as Tony, or well, not Tony? Scared me. What was his name? Joe Exotic.
He's a gay guy who owns the lion thing with. I'm not really sure what it was.
This is starting out well. This is our culture study this morning as we try to figure it out. No. All right.
Okay, let me just tell you this. The only reason I even the only reason I watched it is because I read on Facebook and Jeff Zared, who I know is listening and watching, was the one who I'm not sure why I took his advice, but I did, and I started watching it. Well, one thing rolls into the next, and it says you want to watch the next episode, and by the time I found the clicker to click no, it already started the second one. So um, here I am, 5 in and 2 to go, and they can't get here fast enough, so they can go away quicker.
Here's the thing. And the reason I put it in, and I will say this, I'm always trying to put something that is social media, as entertainment, as what people are watching in here into the high five. Certainly it is the bizarrest story. The man just started collecting over 200 tigers in a small little town in southern Oklahoma, and was and what you find out, I think, about episode 3 or 4, because you're like, I don't understand what's going on. There's this woman down in Tampa who's trying to save big kittens, yet she has all these cats that she is doing named Carol that may have killed her husband, and you're seeing all this stuff. And you can imagine what the documentary people are thinking over all these years. And then what finally makes it make all sense, at least in a really sad shape of the world, is you find out all of them were on meth the whole time, and then you're like, okay, now this all makes sense. Now this is why all this is happening. It is the bizarrest thing. Here's what also, see, the other thing you have to, one, just search for Joe Exotic. You'll see a picture of him, and then realize that he ran for governor in 2018 for Oklahoma, and he ran on the libertarian side of the ticket, and he won 19% of the vote. And I had to laugh so hard. He was out there, he spent $60,000 trying to get, and he came within like 40 votes or something, and actually being on the general election ticket trying to become the libertarian candidate in Oklahoma. It was fascinating television. I did watch every episode, I'm embarrassed to say. But I felt like it was my responsibility trying to stay up on media. Let's go to something even little more relevant. So the other thing that is like probably more demand than I've ever watched is watching Dr. Fauci every time he talks. And Dr. Fauci has been everywhere. You can't go through your social media stream. You can't watch CNN. He has been on from Bleacher Report to Barstool Sports to he did a one-on-one on Instagram with Steph Curry. He's been everywhere. So my 2 questions. One, is he the most active and influential 79-year-old in the history of the United States, and especially in our government? And because he's been there for over 40 years, served for 6 presidents, and been watching what's been going on with infectious disease this whole time. And does he have an incredible PR team? What have you seen about Dr. Fauci? Who's going to be first up? Let's go with Danny, you back? Oh, Danny's totally out, isn't he? I just looked over. He dropped out. The technology is hurting us today. All right. Marc, I know that you watch this stuff closely, have been interacting on Instagram and talking about how to stay healthy. Have you been watching a little bit what Dr. Fauci does?
Absolutely. So this is one topic I have been watching, paying attention. He is the voice of reason, in my opinion, and I love hearing him comment and discuss what's happening with the virus. it was a little sombering this weekend. I think on one show he had mentioned that 1 to 200,000 people potentially could die from this. Not that he was saying it was going to happen, but he said there was the potential for it. So yeah, I really trust the guy. I think he knows what he's doing. I think he's non-political, which is really what I'm looking for in a situation like this. Is not somebody skewing to one party or the other, and not playing the political game. So I really enjoy his commentary. I think he's been out there from the beginning, and I trust his leadership on this topic for sure.
Nate, you there? We're struggling with technology here.
We're struggling. Brian, you tell us, what do you think about Dr. Fauci?
Here's the thing, okay?
Yeah.
Exactly what you just said. He is very, obviously, very knowledgeable, and I think he just says it like it is. I don't think he has. He's trying to sway people one way or the other. I think he just puts out the facts. Obviously, he's seen a lot in his 79 years on the planet, and yeah, I like you said, Mark, I trust him. I believe him. And does he have the best PR team? I don't know. I mean, if I'm one of his people, I jump on board. So yeah, no, I choose to listen to him. I choose to watch him, and hopefully he's doing all the right things. I think he is.
He certainly is. I mean,
So fresh
yeah.
too, isn't he? Every time you see him, he's like full of energy.
Yep.
He's fresh. I mean, it's just very impressive.
When does he sleep?
That's, I mean, he is on all the time from 8, 7 in the morning till like 9, 10 at night. I'm like, the man must have I'm assuming there's a group of handlers that are helping him get from place to place, walking 6 feet away from him at all times and helping him get to all these things, because he's got to have a team who is helping him do all these interviews at all times. Over the weekend, he did over 45 one-on-one or one-on-group interviews with different media entities. And that's what was amazing to me, was watching that from afar, just going, man, he is the first person I've seen to really be non-political and grasp how you have to engage. So he's meeting with Trevor Noah. He's jumping in on Barstool Sports. He is on CNN and Fox News. He's doing every spectrum, making sure his message is heard. And what I have also noted, no matter which side you follow on the politics, the more and more his voice is being heard, and he is the voice of reason, and he is the voice of actually becoming the policy. And I don't know that I can remember anyone else to see that. You guys have been around a little bit longer than I am. Not a lot longer, but a little bit longer than I have. So have you guys ever seen anybody who is like this?
I mean, it's hard to say, just because, I mean, the situation that we're in has never been seen before. I mean, what we're doing right now is to think that this would have ever happened, even, 2 months ago, I don't think anybody would have ever thought we'd be in this situation. But I just think it's just I think we're fortunate to have people like that, and I just think people need to listen to what he's saying.
Yep. All right, let's go.
Yeah, I can't recall anybody out front like this over the, and I have been around for a while, but I was thinking back and talking to some of the people that I interact with, from all the way when I was a young man dealing with the gas shortage when Carter was president. We were in the gas line for hours trying to fill up our tank, and the Iran hostage situation, and event after event after event. But I really can't remember anybody stepping out like him, even from a health scare, or the HIV/AIDS went on for so long, but I guess he was instrumental in that as well. But I can't remember any public figure, health official, that has really stood out like this in anything that I've seen. So pretty impressive.
It's been impressive. All right, time for number 3. Number three. 3. Y'all, we got it to 3. It's time for number 3. All right. So number three is going to be talking about. So I chose this, and Danny is not able to jump on. His internet has totally failed him over there. But what I chose was I knew Marc was going to be on, and I thought Houston sports, and I had this question that came up to me. So I noticed the two Watt brothers, the non-JJ Watt brothers, signed. Both are one re-signed, and then the other signed to play in Pittsburgh. And I started thinking, man, there are a lot of brothers who are playing. And I meant to look them up. The two brothers from the Patriots. We have here in Indianapolis in the Pacers, we have two Holiday brothers. Maybe we'll get the third one at some point. And there's more and more of in professional sports where the guys are navigating their careers so they can play together. And it seems like it might be something new. Brian, I know that you've probably been watching this, and you've coached brothers. You've seen, like, I thought of like back in the day they played at Duke, the Plumlee brothers who are from Warsaw, Indiana. They all chose to go to Duke. They never navigated their career, to my knowledge, to be able to play in the pros. That takes a little they have to have control of their free agency. But what do you think about playing as a brother? You had a brother. Would you have ever done it if you had the level to play Division I sports? Would you have played with your brother if you both would have been able to do it?
I think the answer to the question is absolutely. I think guys would, and I think the Plumlee brothers are a perfect example. Although Duke is, I mean, it's an amazing school, and I think they were all fortunate to be able to go to school there. But yeah, no, I think that if I was again, if I was yeah, if I was that good and my brother was that good, would I want to play with him? Absolutely. But again, like you said, Nate, I think I think that the Curry brothers are probably a better example of two guys who when Stephen Curry, he went to Davidson, and his brother Seth went to Duke. If Stephen would have been recruited higher, he would have ended up at Duke as well. But he ended up going to Davidson and writing his own story. And that's the other side of it is that if you don't go to school with your brother, you can basically write your own story. And then they both got into the pros, and they're both making a nice living. And the Davidson guy obviously has surpassed his brother as far as uh, I guess talent level and championship rings so he's basically written his own story. So there's two sides.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing and that I think a lot of the sports world, there have been more and more opportunities. People, they have been navigating where they want to play more. And so like it used to be, you were very little in control. Even in your division, if you were a Division I athlete, you were only given two or three choices. And now I think if you're a top tier athlete, which is a small percentage, you can now navigate and help choose where you want to play. And I just wonder if we're going to see more and more brothers and sisters, playing together, getting to those D1 levels, choosing to do that. And I don't know. It was just something I was interested in, because when JJ Watts tweeted afterwards, he's like, well, it's going to be hard for my parents to come to more of my games, or something like that. He tweeted when he realized that he had two brothers playing for Pittsburgh. I will be fascinated. I'm going to guess there's going to be a two-sided jersey, a Pittsburgh Steelers, Houston Texans jersey in their future. So, one of the things I want to end up with now is I had two last topics. I specifically chose these because Marc Beauchamp is on with us. I'm going to try to get your levels up because I'm hearing that it's having a hard time hearing. So I'm going to loop through some of those levels. And they are a little quiet, so I'm maxing them out as much as possible. And we will repost this because I record this locally, so I can put it back and up this volume. But I am intrigued a little bit, Marc. What is the healthiest thing you eat every day? The thing you eat because you want to feed your body, feed your mind, something that is healthy. Is there something that you do as a ritual that's part of every day that you eat?
Absolutely. And one comment on the brothers. I'm a tennis fan, so the Bryan brothers, Mike and Bob Bryan, are my favorite, most successful doubles team in the history of professional tennis. So that's my one comment there. And yes, I have part of what I talk about a lot is creating rituals, right? Daily routines, rituals. Tony Robbins called it a power hour. Robin Sharma calls it a holy hour. But part of that ritual in the morning is putting something healthy in my body and then sweating a little bit in the morning. So what I do as a daily ritual is I drink a green smoothie every single day, and I think I have probably now, I'm not keeping track, but I would say I've had one every day for at least 2.5 years. Maybe I've
Wow.
missed a day or two. I'm not sure. I don't think I've missed a day. So I take travel packs with me when I travel and I'm on the road, and I put a little apple cider vinegar in there. I put my green smoothie. I'll throw some plant based protein sometimes, some collagen. So I mix it up. But the consistent thing is a green smoothie. And one thing I've noticed with men is men a lot of times do not like vegetables. Now, maybe it's just me. I'm not a big veggie eater, so this gives me a lot of my servings of vegetables in the morning, and it really gets my system. It's got probiotics in it, and really gets my system moving for the day and keeps me light with lots of energy. So that's what I do every day.
How about you, Mr. Linky?
Okay. How can you follow that? I mean, my goodness gracious. Travel packs? What?
Yeah,
Well, a brain smoothie? Is that what it's called?
it's a green smoothie.
A
Green.
green
Yes,
smoothie.
green.
But
Yes.
it's good for the
Okay,
brain.
I'm such.
It's good for your brain too.
I should have gone first because to follow that, I mean, I'm not really sure what I could do. However, I actually brought mine, a banana.
Hey.
This is the one thing that every single day, I just feel better that knowing that I've eaten it. I'm not sure why, but I eat a banana. But probably because when I travel as well, they're easy access, right? I mean, every place you can get a banana. So the answer to my question, which isn't even close to coming close to Mr. Beauchamp's answer, but my answer is a banana.
Well, one of the things for me is one, I've gotten into intermittent fasting. So I usually go about 18 hours in between eating, depending on the day. Sometimes during vacations, I go a minimum of 15. And so I don't eat a lot. I drink water and I take a bunch of supplements every morning as soon as I wake up. And so I make sure that I have one that's very important this time is taking something with elderberry in it, something with echinacea in it, trying to keep my immune system as strong as possible. I take vitamin D, vitamin C. I am taking some supplements that have some apple cider vinegar and some things to make sure I have some digestion plus. And that's something I eat every morning. I take that with I try to drink 2 quarts of water before I get going in the morning and get that body going. And that's been really good for me in the last 6 months to keep my energy up, keep me ready and focused. And especially when I a lot of times work till 2:30 in the morning, get up at 6:30 in the morning, or sometimes I get a little more sleep. I've been trying to working on my sleep habit. That's something else for my health, but that's what I do and eat. And I also have at times I'll go through 2 weeks where I eat. I love to do like just greens, and I've gone a couple. Shocking to me in my life right now, I've gone vegan a couple times for up to 4 weeks, and done
Yeah.
only plant-based proteins, and that's been it. Really is good. It's not something that's totally part of my habit yet, but I certainly am eating much more clean meats and doing that. So I think what we eat is so important. Brian, when you eat the banana, are there other things? Because I know you have 2 boys in your house, 3 boys total, but 2 that are in your house. Uh, when I was 18, I didn't think at all about eating healthy. Is there any change between those guys to having young men in your house? Are they thinking eating more healthy at all?
Okay, okay. First of all, like, okay, the two answers that you guys gave. Okay, I'm feeling like I need to like go like run around the neighborhood a little bit or something. But the answer is both of the kids in my house, Jacob and Ben, both, every single day will wake up and there's a green smoothie going on in the blender or whatever that thing is upstairs because it's so loud that it's hard not to hear it. The house is pretty big, but it doesn't matter where you are. So yeah, the two of them are they're pretty healthy people, and Jacob is a freak of nature athlete, and Ben took him a little bit of time, but he works at every single day, and now and he's really transformed his body into being extremely healthy, and both of them are doing the green smoothie shakes. So maybe I should jump on board there.
All right. Okay, so the last thing that I want to talk about today is number 5. One of the things I want is I want to highlight what Mr. Marc Beauchamp is doing when it comes to coaching and mentoring. And he's been doing this for a lot of years. And so I'm going to ask several coaches around coaching and mentoring, the importance of having coaching and mentoring in your life, especially when you're in business to business sales, when you're doing a 1099 job, when you're an independent contractor, how making sure you have the right people speaking into your life and giving you the vision and the hope and the understanding of those who have gone before us. Marc, can you tell me a little bit about why coaching and mentoring is so important to you?
Yeah, I think I still have a coach that I hire, a guy named Garrett J. White that I work with and I spend a lot of money with. And last week I spent, almost 15 hours with him and 15 or 16 other men virtually planning out our next quarter and our next target. So I think it's critical to have some kind of coach or mentor or multiple coach and mentors in your life just to give you that support that you need and help you stay on the path and moving in the right direction. So yeah, it's very, very, very critical. And I know a lot of the guys on this call and women on this call are in sales. So we naturally gravitate towards people like Tony Robbins, and back in my day was Zig Ziglar and Tom Hopkins and Brian Tracy, and the list goes on. And I've read and followed those people. Grant Cardone is a big one nowadays. Followed those people for many, many years. So I think it's critical to have some kind of influence in your life that keeps your mindset right. So there's skill sets and there's mindsets, and the skill sets are the learning of the business that we're in and learning the selling skills and the things that keep us being successful in the field. But then there's the mindset that I think is really important, that drives our motivation to give us the direction and the motivation to get out there every single day and do the things that we need to do to be successful and take care of our families.
How do we?
Good answer.
That's a great answer, Brian. How do you choose, and how has this changed over your lifetime too? Choosing who you let speak into your life, who is the coaches that are in your life, the mentors in your life. How do you choose which people get that spot? Because not everyone can get a voice into your life. How do you choose which ones get that voice for you?
Well, I think the first thing, and I think the thing that's left that was left out of the question is, in order to be a coach or a mentor, you have to earn the respect of the people around you. And respect is something that's not given; it's earned, right? So, when so for me, the people that I respect the most are the people that I gravitate to, right? And what goes hand in hand, I think, is the success of those people. So I think once someone is once I've earned someone's respect, and once somebody's earned mine, I think it makes it a lot easier to be coached and mentored by them, and to coach and mentor those people as well.
All right, so I'm coming back, and I apologize to those who have been watching live. I think I finally found the Zoom setting that was causing us. I had somebody somehow they automatically adjust volume, and if you're using Zoom for the first time there's a little button in the back that says automatically adjust volume. If you're trying to stream in any way, it's a terrible thing because it tries to limit the people to make them all even, and it was making everybody on Marc, as that wasn't me, limited. I apologize for that. We are recording this, and Zoom does record it in the cloud, and I'll remix this. It'll take me a little bit and repost it, but we should be back to normal now. Marc, you've done so much coaching, especially in the payment space, but really just all types of business over the last 30 years.
Not 40, but yeah.
Okay, I know. All right. Well, you were doing it when you were 2. I know that. But what are some of the things that are so important for you on both from the coaching side when you're the coach and from the person that's being coached to get the most out of that relationship?
Well, I think that's a good question, because I think what I'm doing differently and what I've realized after the years of doing a lot of different types of programs is, the industry is not that critical. So, you know, there's some similarities between what people are trying to accomplish in their lives, regardless of what industry they're in. So I myself have 25 years of payment experience, so I can speak to the industry. But what I'm doing now, and what I'm doing for the voluntary coaching that I'm offering, that we'll talk about, I'm sure, in a minute, but is called the framework. And the difference is these things that you mentioned earlier, like the nutrition in the morning. And what I've understood about myself and seen about individuals is a lot of times the challenge is they don't have the habits in their life and the systems that they have built in their life to really breed success. So I'm more about helping people create these systems, these routines, these daily habits across 4 dimensions. I talk about body, being, balance, and business. And, you know, having all these 4 parts of your life congruent: your body, your being, your spiritual connectedness, whatever that is for you, and your balance, and that's your relationships, your husband, your wife, your children. And what so many men do, and women I'm sure too, I can't speak to them exactly, but what so many men do is we sacrifice one for the other. And we put so much self-worth in our business success, and we sacrifice a lot of times the body, the spiritual connectedness, and the family. So what I've seen is when it's just the opposite. When you have the body, the spiritual connectedness, and the family together, the business takes off like a rocket. So what I'm doing that's a little bit different from what I looked at many, many years ago, when all I was really concerned about was, let me make some money. Let me make a lot of money. Let me be successful. And if I'm successful, that's going to solve all my other problems in life. And it really doesn't work that way. So what I'm coaching around these days is really that balance between all of it, having it all rise together. And it's never going to be perfect. You're going to have times in your life where business is more important and family is more important. But that's the goal, is to try to get those congruent, get those in alignment. And I talk about something I call the 3 alignments, and get all that stuff on track so the whole person, the whole man or woman, and the business thrives. And that's really what I've been focusing on more, is, you know, bringing that congruence and those 4 things together for people. And that's important to me these days, because I'm in a different stage in my life where I'm looking at legacy and building things for my family and my grandchildren, that I actually have a 4, 3, and a 2, that I'm building things for them. So things are a little bit of a different focus for me. And I want to give back a lot more too. And that's kind of why I've come up with this program over the next 90 days for the payment people.
Well, Marc, let's talk specifically about that program that you're offering that's starting this week. Talk a little bit about what it looks like to have 90 days of coaching. And then I am so impressed with how you're offering this, how people can get involved with it, and how much does it cost?
Yeah, absolutely. So when this virus thing hit, I'm not going to lie. I think this next 3 months could probably be the most impactful and most important time in anybody's career, not just in the payments industry, but anybody in small business. And I don't think any of us, I know I didn't really see what the impact that this could have on our country, on our financial system, on business owners in general. So I think it's going to be a challenging time. And my intention was to really roll this out next quarter. And I was going to run this challenge over the next 90 days for some of my Bank Card Life members, really hone the content in, and then offer it next quarter. But with the current situation that we're in, I thought, you know what, let's just do it. There is no charge at all. I'm going to coach and work with people over the next 90 days at no charge. And it's going to be initially around setting your targets for the next 90 days across those 4 dimensions that I talked about. And then honing in on you creating a daily routine, a daily ritual that works for you, that empowers you. You know, recent studies from the University of London has shown that it takes 66 days to build a habit. Now, I grew up always thinking, I heard 21 days. You do it for 21 days, you have a habit, maybe 30 days. But most studies now are showing 66 days. So what I want to do is work with people across those 4 domains for 90 days. I have over 200 people registered right now, so I didn't quite expect this type of response, but we've got over 200 people. And we're going to have a private Facebook workplace group, not Facebook. So it's a private app where there's no advertising coming in. And we're going to do weekly challenges. So we'll have the 90-day period that we work together on. We're going to have weekly content that I deliver. The first live webinar is this Wednesday to kick it off and kind of give everybody an overview of what's expected from a participation standpoint, what the ground rules are. But it's exciting. So we'll have weekly body challenges and being challenges, and they'll slowly get more challenging as the 90 days goes on. And hopefully we'll help people create some clarity during this time, come up with some solutions. And I have got, like I said, over 200 people, but I would say 10 or 20 have 20 plus years experience. I've got a ton of people with 10, 15, 20, and then we've got a mix of new people. So I'm hoping to tap into this community as well and find out what are they doing during this downtime or during this challenging time to prepare themselves once this thing is over. And also, what are they doing right now today to make a living and get out there and help their merchants?
I think that's really awesome. Brian, you work so much with our partners day in and day out here at PayProTech. Can you tell me a little bit what you think, like something like this, being able to invest with 200 other people, some of them with over 20 years of experience, could do to someone who's in the payment space or just in business-to-business sales space to help them grow to that next level?
Well, obviously, yeah, that's a good question. And again, to follow Marc Beauchamp on anything is I really have to concentrate and think about what I want to say because he's tough. I'm telling you something. But the reason, Marc, that you have over 200 subscribers, and I'm going to be one of them, is because you've earned people's respect, right? And when you earn people's respect, you'd be surprised at how many people want to jump in and grab onto your coattails and follow you. There's a lot. Matt Hoskins is another great example. A guy who I met about 10, 11 years ago. And I kind of was like, hey, man, this guy's, he's into something here. And, I keep telling people I've been fooling people for the last 10 plus years. I'm still here. But as far as our agents, we've done a really, and Danny Schard is obviously I think the main reason behind the whole thing. We've got some really, really good people, and those people are looking for people like Marc Beauchamp and Matt Hoskins to, during a time that is, we're so uncertain of so many things today. I mean, none of us, even as old as I am, Nate, and have ever been through anything close to something like this. Yeah, I mean, Marc mentioned, the gas shortage and things like that, but nothing like this. So I think a lot of our agents are smart enough. I think they're sharp enough. And I think they need something, and they know that to grasp onto. And I think by getting onto Marc's webinar on Wednesday, I think that's a start in the right direction. And I'm a big routine guy, right? I'm the guy who gets up every single morning and gets on the elliptical or the bike or grabs my dumbbells, or I was going to the Y every once in a while just to kind of break it up. So I'm a big routine guy as well. I'm also a big guy on 30 to 45 minutes is it for me. And but the difference is that's every single day. And I'm just one of those guys that at 30 to 45 minutes I can do anything, right? Anybody can do anything. If you're an hour and a half, 2 hours, then you start dreading it, and then you stop doing it. And that's why, like at the YMCA, right? I mean, the January and February are the two biggest months because everybody wants to go and spend 3 hours there. Well, you know what? I don't have 2 or 3 hours. 30, 45 minutes, I've got. So again, I know that kind of went off the question a little bit, but our agents are smart enough, and I think they're gonna. I think that 200 number is about to jump up even further.
I certainly hope so. So we're going to repost this in its further value, though I think there's still about 50 people still watching this, hung in there when they couldn't totally hear Mark and Brian and Danny, and Zoom was just hurting us today. It wasn't their best advertising moment, but they're the best option we have for doing this, and we'll learn and lick our wounds. And I mean, Mark had to jump on his phone when because other things weren't working. So just how things work when you're technology, but amazing that we have this, and that's what sets the basis for being able to do it for these coaching, because you couldn't have done a coaching like this even 5 years ago. I mean, right on the edge, 6 years ago, all this. Tell me, I'm just intrigued a little bit. Can you explain how like Workplace works? I've played with it a little bit. I know you've been using it. How that's going to add to this experience, the interactivity that's available through digital now that you're able to use these systems.
Yeah, it's amazing because we used to do conference calls. That was the coaching years ago, right? So, and I'm learning to be more comfortable on video and do, it's really, I know for a lot of us, it's not something we're used to doing. So you have to kind of get past that, stretch yourself a little bit. But Workplace has been great for us. I've got my other community and other things I'm doing. So I already have about 300 people in the Workplace community. So it is a download. You download the Workplace app, or you can do it on your desktop, set up an account one time. So it is completely separate from Facebook. It's built for big corporations. And what I like about it is there's no advertising. Nobody can connect. When you have a payment group, everybody can go out and connect, and try to recruit your payment people, right? So one thing that we're doing in this group is it's completely recruiting free. We've got people from everywhere, from big banks, from vendors, from POS companies, from ISOs, agents, ISO owners. I've got several people in there that have 100+ agents that are going to run through this and decide if it's something they want to offer their agents next quarter. So Workplace, you can have it right on your phone. You can access it via your desktop. Everything will be posted in there. We're using Zoom for the meetings. Hopefully our Wednesday will handle the couple hundred people we're going to have on there. And then what Workplace is nice is I can pop in there and every Monday I can go live, or I can do a recorded message to the group. Group members can go live and do video. They can interact with each other, very similar to Facebook. And really get a community going in there. And then we can upload any content or replays or downloads right in that Workplace community. So I am underwriting the expense for Workplace for everybody that's participating. So that's part of the free part of it. People ask me, is it really free? And yeah, it's really free. I'm paying for the cost for Workplace. There is nothing you will be sold during this 90 days. And the reality is what will happen. I hope it doesn't, but people start, it's like Brian said, you go in January to start working out. I'm going to make a resolution. I last for 30 days and I drop off. And that's the challenge that every human being has, right? There's typically a place where we are today over here, and then there's a place where we want to be. And between that is a gap. And I talk about the gap a lot because that's what we're trying to do, is take you from where you are today. And I promise you, you have got a gap across some area of your life, body, being, balance, or business. I still have gaps across my life that I'm trying to narrow those gaps. But there's areas for self today, and if you can do it honestly and not it in some kind of story, and I'm going to tell you, and the stories that we tell ourselves and the limiting belief systems that we create that keeps us over on this side of the fence, that doesn't let us take the leap. And the leap is getting over the gap to man or woman. That's what gets me excited. It gets me energized. And the system that I'm going to share what I've been using that works for me. What's nice is you can cut this thing. Most guys, I mean, an hour or 2 hours a day on this stuff is just not going to work. You got to be able to make it short, simple, and effective, and find out what really gives you power in your life, what really gives you power in that morning routine that gets your mindset, get your body ready, and get you ready to go and hit the office and hit work and hit those targets that you set across your business. So, I'm excited to help people bridge that gap. And I have a lot of learning over the 90 days. It's not just, it's going to be the many challenges, but I'm going to share a lot of the stuff for myself from an authentic place of challenges that I've had in my life and how I've overcome them and how I'm still trying to overcome those gaps in my life and become a better version of myself, right? So it's not competing against these people in this group, because there's some people in this group that are quite frankly millionaires many times over that have been very successful on the business side, but maybe they're not so successful on the family side or the body side or nutrition or the other things. So everybody has their own journey here. I just want to support everyone in that journey and help you be the best version of you, not competing against the group. Teddy Roosevelt said it really well. He said, comparison is a thief of joy. And when we start to compare ourselves against others, our insides are never going to match up to their outsides. So we need to really just find out for us what's important and what we want to focus on to bridge that gap in our own lives. And I hope to support everyone in that journey, whatever it is for you.
That's awesome, Marc. I think that's unfortunately you were breaking up just a little bit. I saw the little red line go on your thing. So hopefully we'll be able to even cut that a little together, because that's just being able to fill those gaps is so important to all of our success, and just to continue to grow in all the areas of our life and not just focusing just on one. I always, one of the people who mentored me always said to view it like a bucket. And if one section, the water always flows out at the lowest section, and focus on that area of your life to help yourself grow. And whatever area is losing the most water. And so I think I'm going to be jumping in. I'm going to go fill out the form here. Let's make sure that everybody who's listening now or later has the opportunity to know where they can sign up. What is the link to be able to do that?
Yeah, just go to bankcard, BANKCARD life.com /Q2 sign up. So bankcardlife.com /Q2 sign up. And that'll take you to a job form. Sign up. We're closing at 3:00 this afternoon.
I'm on the call. Can I call you back?
Yeah. Oh.
And then you'll get a notification to get in the community.
Brian needs to mute himself when he does that. But all right.
He was calling me. I'm like, okay, I'm trying to get on the bankcardlife.com /. That's as far as I got.
There we go. All right. So that's bankcardlife.com Q2 sign up. So I'll put that in the links underneath here. You have till 3:00. Is that Eastern time or Central time? Oh, we lost Marc now. Marc is frozen. So we are left. Everybody is
awesome. You were kind of breaking up on there too, but I heard of it.
All right. On that, we are going to close off with our Monday episode. Hopefully every other episode this week will be a lot smoother. Thank you, Marc Beauchamp. Thank you, Brian Linky. Thank you, Danny Schard, for the few moments that you were on. And we are off. Have a great Monday. Let's make this the best Monday of quarantine ever. High five, everybody.
Thanks, guys.